They say it costs $300,000 to raise a child, but I hit that number before my oldest even turned 7. For families like ours, in high cost cities with childcare, private school, and a values driven lifestyle, the reality looks very, very different. In this video, I'll walk you through what it actually costs to raise kids today. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Clara. I'm a former finance professional turned stay at home mom of 3 boys. This channel is where I unpack the real numbers behind modern family life. So in 2015, the USDA did a study and estimated that it costs about $300,000 to raise a child. For a middle-income family, that comes out to about $17,000 a year. Adjusted for today's inflation, that comes out to around $413,000 for a middle-income family, or around $24,000 a year. But here's the issue. When I looked into what went into that number, it didn't seem to account for nearly anything we were paying for our children, including postpartum care, private school, after-school care, summer camps, and extracurriculars. If that estimate did not apply to families like ours, then what is the true estimate? We have 3 kids and we're not billionaires. We need to make sure we are planning appropriately. From my research, the true cost lands at about $1 to $2 million per child, not including college. How is that number so wildly off from USDA's estimate? Let's break it down. The national average for daycares in the US is a whopping $16,000 per year, which comes out to about $48,000 for the first 3 years of life before preschool. For many higher income families, it reflects a deeper belief that early environments shape outcomes, and that with the right support, they can give their kids a stronger, more secure start. And to no one's surprise, that costs more. A full-time nanny in San Francisco can easily cost $70,000 to $90,000 a year. I've put this into the graph at $75,000 a year. Next is education. And you can see here the biggest gap in spending between middle-income families and higher-income families, which I estimated at 10% of their total spending versus a whopping 36% of total spending. The middle-income cost of $30,000 represents 2 years of preschool, which is typically not free, and then the rest of the K to 12 years in a local public school. The higher income family's total cost of $540,000 represents about $36,000 a year to cover the average private school cost or the increased mortgage cost of a better public school district, plus some aftercare caretaker or program. There can be huge variance here, but this is much more in line with where we're putting our budget, and it seems the same for our peers. For high-income families, education spending isn't just about academics, it's about long-term positioning. Whether it's access to elite colleges or cultivating curiosity early on through specialized programs like language immersion, outdoor only, low-tech focus, these parents see school and enrichment as a way to widen the lane for their child's future. It's about creating optionality in a world where doors don't always open evenly. And in a similar vein of thinking, enrichment costs, such as extracurriculars, sports, tutors, and summer camps, are also significantly more for higher income families as they try to continue to immerse their children in an intentional and enriching environment. This definitely does not come cheap. This fourth category, I called it food and lifestyle. It's really a catch-all for a lot of the things that come with a more affluent lifestyle due to having kids, including organic groceries, increased utilities, for having a larger home, more expensive vacations, because maybe now you need a 2-bedroom villa instead of a standard hotel room, slightly nicer everything including clothing and shoes. You can see here that the cost is significant for all income levels, and that just reflects the cost of having kids in general. But for affluent families who typically want nicer things and want to feel like they can have it all, or because they have children typically later in life, they have already become accustomed to having nicer things. That overall cost is simply more. Lastly, I have another catch-all category called teen expenses. In my research, this category of costs remained high for all income groups, and as you can see, is the second highest spend category for middle-income families. Items in this category include significantly more food. Again, organic adds up quickly for the higher income families. Allowance money, expensive hobbies and travel sports, orthodontic work, therapy, car, and car insurance. In summary, you can see that over time, the gap of total cost really widens by the time your kids are off to college. So if you've ever looked at your bank statement and thought, is this normal? You're not alone. Spending $80,000 or more a year on child-related expenses isn't a moral failure. It might just be the math of your life right now. And when you understand your real numbers, not the national average, but your actual lifestyle, you can make better, calmer trade offs that reflect your values, not your fears. I'm curious, how close are these numbers to your own experience? Did anything surprise you? If this was helpful, I'd love if you shared it with another parent who's in this season too. You can find the full cost breakdown over on the blog and stay tuned for an upcoming video on how we budget for private school and still sleep at night. See you soon.